For the first time in years, the Chicago Bears aren't talking about rebuilding, draft position, or moral victories. They're talking about clinching a playoff spot, and it can happen this very week. At 10-4, Chicago has put itself in a position few expected before the season began. Now, the math is simple, the stakes are massive, and the moment couldn't be bigger. If the Bears beat the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night, they'd put themselves on the brink of ending a playoff drought that's lasted since 2020. Here's how it works. If Chicago wins and Detroit loses or ties against Pittsburgh, the Bears officially punch their ticket to the postseason. Even a tie between the Bears and Packers, combined with a Detroit loss, would still be enough. The only scenario where Chicago walks away empty-handed this week is a loss, and that's why everything about Saturday feels different. Quick reminder, if you enjoy in-depth Bears coverage like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. Beyond the playoffs, there's something even bigger looming, the NFC North title. While the Bears can't officially clinch the division this week, a win would put them a game and a half up with just 2 weeks to go. At that point, the path becomes clear. Chicago would control its destiny. Think about that for a second. Win Saturday, and suddenly Green Bay would need help. Chicago would only lose the division if they dropped both remaining games and the Packers won out. In other words, a Bears victory doesn't just boost playoff odds, it tilts the entire division race. And that's what makes this game historic. This isn't just another rivalry matchup. This is the biggest Bears home game in at least 5 years, and arguably the biggest since the 2018 season. Soldier Field won't just be loud, it will be electric. Players have already talked about the energy, the atmosphere, and the expectation that the stadium will be shaking under the lights. This is revenge for the loss 2 weeks ago. This is a chance to knock Green Bay down when it matters most. This is a chance to remind the league that Chicago is no longer waiting its turn. Vegas may see the Packers as a slight favorite, but this Bears team doesn't look like one that cares about odds. They know what's at stake. They know what a win means, not just for the standings, but for belief. Saturday night is about sending a message. As big as this game is, it comes with difficult decisions, especially on the injury front. Chicago enters the weekend banged up, and one situation in particular stands above the rest. The status of Rome Odunze has become one of the most delicate conversations inside the building. He did not participate in the most recent practice estimate, and while that alone doesn't decide his availability, it reflects the seriousness of what's going on. Odunze is dealing with a stress fracture, and that changes everything. This isn't about toughness or willingness. By all accounts, he wants to play. The real question is risk. A stress fracture doesn't simply heal in a week. The danger isn't just pain, it's turning a manageable injury into something that could require major off-season rehab, or even surgery. That's why the coaching staff is walking a tightrope. Do you protect a key young player from himself? Do you gamble because the moment is so big? Or do you prioritize long-term health, even with the playoffs in reach? Right now, every option is on the table. There are ongoing discussions between coaches, medical staff, and the player himself. Can he tolerate the pain? Can he function without worsening the injury? What's the worst-case scenario? At this point, it would be surprising to see him play Saturday. Even if he does return later this season, it's clear the Bears are thinking beyond just one night. Another name to monitor closely is Luther Burden, who was also listed as a non-participant. His chances appear better than Odunze, but this feels like a true game-time decision situation. How he progresses later in the week will be critical. Elsewhere on the injury report, there are reasons for cautious optimism. Travis Homer is trending upward after missing last week and could provide value, especially on special teams. Cole Kmet, who took some punishment in the last game, is banged up but expected to push through. Tremaine Edmonds has had his practice window opened and was limited. Given the short week, it's not guaranteed, but his return would be massive for the defense. Andrew Billings is dealing with an illness but is expected to be fine. Backup quarterback availability is no longer a concern after earlier week issues. Because this is a short week with walkthrough-based practices, these early designations aren't final. The next 2 days will tell the real story, especially for the receivers. The Bears are balancing urgency with responsibility, trying to win now without sacrificing the future. That balance will define not only Saturday night, but how far this team can realistically go. While Chicago is navigating tough decisions, Green Bay is dealing with its own growing list of concerns, and the stakes couldn't be higher for them. The Packers are already adjusting to life without a defensive cornerstone lost for the season. That absence alone changes how their defense functions, forcing other players to step into larger roles and handle responsibilities they weren't expecting in December. But that's just the beginning. Several key starters left Green Bay's most recent game with injuries, including contributors on both sides of the ball. Instead of clarity, what's coming out of their camp is uncertainty and strategy. The message from their coaching staff has been consistent: wait until game time. That tells you everything you need to know. This is an empty the tank moment for Green Bay. They understand the math just as clearly as Chicago does. If they don't sweep the Bears, their chances of winning the NFC North shrink dramatically. Lose this game, and the division is almost certainly gone. Because of that, players who might sit during a normal week could try to gut it out. Limited practices, rest days, and last-minute decisions are all part of the plan. If someone is at 80%, there's real pressure to play. The short week makes it harder. Recovery time is minimal. Preparation is rushed. But desperation changes everything. Reports already indicate multiple Packers starters didn't practice, while others were limited. Even at running back, where Green Bay has depth, injuries are reshaping roles. The expectation is that they'll push anyone remotely capable of playing, because there may not be a tomorrow if they lose. And that's why this matchup feels so heavy. This game isn't just about pride or rivalry. It's about control of the division. It's about momentum heading into the final stretch. It's about which team truly believes it belongs among the NFC's best. For Chicago, a win means validation. For Green Bay, a loss could mean collapse. That tension will be felt from the opening kickoff. As injury reports update and final decisions are made, the picture will become clearer. But one thing is already certain: both teams know exactly what's on the line. Saturday night won't just shape Week 16, it could define the entire season. So now it's your turn. Who wins? What's the final score? One outcome pushes the Bears closer to the playoffs and possibly a division crown. The other keeps the door open for Green Bay. Soldier Field is ready. The moment is here. Now the Bears have to finish the job.